Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, you know this feeling all too well, right? You're finally asleep, like really asleep, deep sleep.
That good restorative stage, exactly. And then bam, like clockwork, maybe 2.0 a.m., it hits. That pressure, you know the one. Oof, yeah.
And you have to drag yourself out of bed, completely shattering that really valuable rest you desperately need.
It's absolutely maddening. And the first thing people think is, oh, it's my age, or maybe that tiny sip of water I had before bed.
Right? The usual
But
suspects.
that's usually missing the real point. Our sources, well, they show the bladder is really just the messenger here.
Okay.
The actual culprits, they're deeper, more systemic issues. Think about gravitational fluid shifts during the day, or even your body temperature messing things up at night. These things force the kidneys into overdrive when they should be, taking a break.
So it's not just about the bladder itself, it's the whole system.
Precisely. The plumbing's fine. It's the signals and the fluid management that's off.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack five, well, surprising and really fixable mistakes that are likely driving these nightly wake-ups.
Yeah, and we'll count them down, starting with some simpler habits and building up to the really big systemic stuff.
And that number one mistake,
Mm.
honestly, it's powerful, and I think probably the most overlooked factor for a lot of people. Let's get into it.
Yeah, what's really striking is how holistic this is. You can't just, zero in on the bladder. You have to look at the whole picture.
Totally agree. Okay, mistake number five,
Hmm.
the 3-hour liquid myth. We all know, okay, don't chug a gallon of water before bed.
Right.
Obvious.
But we think, oh, a small glass, maybe some tea, maybe a little juice, an hour before bed. That's going to be harmless.
And that assumption,
Mm.
it's where things go wrong because of the timing, the science of it. See, when you drink something, it doesn't just instantly become pee.
Okay.
It gets absorbed, goes into your bloodstream, increases your blood volume, and your kidneys, they're the filters, right?
Hmm.
They sense this increase.
And they start filtering out that extra fluid. That whole process from drinking it to peak urine production, it takes, well, anywhere from 60 to 180 minutes.
On to 3 hours.
Exactly, 1 to 3 hours. So if I have that harmless glass of water at, say, 10:30 p.m., I'm basically programming my kidneys to hit peak production right around 1:32 a.m. You're setting your own alarm clock.
Mhm.
Precisely.
Wow.
And here's where it gets even more interesting, kind of the hormonal side. Your body wants you asleep through the night.
Right.
So it releases something called ADH, antidiuretic hormone.
Mhm.
Its job is to tell the kidneys, hey, slow down urine production overnight.
Okay, makes sense.
But drinking fluids too close to bed, it actively suppresses that hormone.
Mhm.
It basically keeps your kidneys stuck in daytime mode.
Okay, wait. So is it just the volume of liquid, or is it the act of drinking late that messes with the hormone? Like, if I need a tiny sip for medication, is that as bad as a big glass?
That's a great question. Volume definitely plays a role. More liquid means more filtering eventually.
Yeah.
But the timing itself, drinking late, disrupts that crucial hormonal signal,
Hmm.
which is why the sources are pretty strict. There was this one study, I think in the Journal of Clinical Urology, participants who had a strict 3-hour liquid cutoff before bed. They reduced their nightly bathroom trips by an average of 40%.
40%. That's huge. It's significant.
Oh.
So the takeaway is pretty clear. Try to get most of your hydration in earlier in the day. Be done 3 hours before bed.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you need medication, use the absolute smallest sip of water you can manage.
Okay, makes sense. Front load the hydration. So if we've managed the liquids, got that 3-hour roll down, the next logical thing is food, right?
Mhm.
What and when we eat, exactly. Which brings us nicely to mistake number 4, the late dinner and what we're calling the hidden diuretic trap.
Right, and this seems to have a few parts to it.
Yeah, it's not just one thing. People often focus on timing, but the content of the meal matters just as much.
Okay, let's start with timing then. Eating a big meal, say, within 3 hours of bed. I read the Sleep Foundation says this basically kicks your digestion into high gear.
Right, and that diverts energy away from sleep's repair work. Plus, it raises your core body temperature, which isn't great for sleep quality. It leads to more fragmented rest.
Okay, so poor sleep quality.
Uh,
And does eating late add fluid too, like the drinking?
it does, actually. It's something called metabolic water. As your body breaks down the food, the carbs, fats, proteins, it actually creates water as a byproduct of metabolism.
Mm-hmm. Never thought of that.
Yeah, so that adds to the fluid load your kidneys have to deal with overnight, even if you didn't drink anything with the meal.
And then there's the tricky part, the hidden diuretics. Okay, alcohol, caffeine, we know those. But this list, I mean, it includes stuff I thought was really healthy. Celery, cucumbers, asparagus, bell peppers,
Oh,
parsley.
no, it's kind of shocking, isn't it? Think about someone having a big, quote unquote, healthy salad at 9 p.m.,
Right, packed with celery and cucumber.
thinking they're doing great. But they're essentially downing a diuretic cocktail right before lying down. Even really spicy foods can irritate the bladder and make you feel like you need to go.
Okay, so the strategy here is twofold then. Finish eating, like the main meal, maybe 3 to 4 hours before sleep,
Yes, give digestion time.
and become a diuretic detective. Maybe shift those big raw salads, the ones with celery and cucumber, till lunchtime.
That's a great idea. And maybe opt for cooked veggies in the evening. Things like uh, carrots, broccoli, sweet potatoes. Less likely to have that diuretic effect.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So liquids timed, food timed, and checked. What's next? All right, let's talk about mistake number 3. The pre-sleep good enough bathroom trip. This one's all about habit and maybe being a bit rushed or distracted.
Mm.
The final pit stop before bed.
Exactly. You go, maybe you're thinking about tomorrow, scrolling on your phone for a second. You feel, empty enough and you hop into bed.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But the consequence of just being good enough instead of fully empty, I bet it adds up.
It adds up fast. When you rush, most people, well, they only empty their bladder maybe 80 or 90%,
Okay.
leaving even 10, 20% behind, maybe 50 milliliters. It's not a lot, but that residual urine gives the refilling process a massive head start.
Ah, so the bladder just hits its wake-up signal much sooner during the night.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because it started partially full.
So what's the fix? Is there a technique?
There is, yeah. It's called double voiding. It's simple, non-invasive. Places like the Cleveland Clinic recommend it. It's about being mindful for a minute or two.
Okay, double voiding. How does that work? And, we've covered liquids, food, now this habit. It's starting to feel like a lot to change at once.
Totally understand that feeling. And you absolutely should not try to fix everything at once. That's key. We'll come back to that with the rule of one later.
Okay, good. But first, let's just nail down this double voiding technique. It's basically 4 simple steps. First step, sit down on the toilet.
Hmm?
Okay, even for men.
Yes, even for men. Sitting helps the pelvic floor muscles fully relax. That's crucial for complete emptying. Second, just urinate normally. Third, and this is important, stay sitting for another 30 to 60 seconds. Just relax, take a few deep breaths. Don't rush.
Okay.
And fourth, lean forward slightly. Maybe rest your forearms on your knees. This little shift in posture can change the bladder's position.
And help get any leftover urine out.
Exactly. You try to urinate again. Might just be a little bit, might be nothing, but you've given it the best chance to empty fully.
Yeah.
Making that a quick 2-minute ritual, it can be a real game changer. You eliminate that head start.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Take the time, be mindful. Got it.
So that moves us out of habits and more into the bigger systemic factors, right?
Yes. Started with mistake number 2. Your bedroom's unregulated microclimate. Basically the temperature.
Mm.
Wow, okay. I never would have thought the room temperature could directly impact my kidneys. That's surprising.
It is surprising, but your body is like this incredibly finely tuned thermostat. And the ambient temperature, it dictates a lot, including whether you stay in deep sleep and how your circulation behaves. We need to think about two extremes here.
Okay.
First, being too warm. We know the ideal sleep temperature is actually quite cool, somewhere around 65 to 68 Fahrenheit, maybe 18 to 20 Celsius.
Right, I've heard that.
If your room is too warm, or maybe your pajamas are too heavy, like polyester, your core body temperature stays higher.
Okay.
This actually prevents you from sinking into those really deep sleep stages. And it's in those deep stages that the ADH, that antidiuretic hormone we talked about, really kicks in properly.
So if you're too warm, you stay in lighter sleep, the hormone doesn't work as well, and you're more likely to notice even a partially full bladder.
Exactly. You're just more restless and aware. Now, the other extreme, being too cold, this triggers something called cold diuresis. Cold diuresis, okay. That sounds like almost like an evolutionary survival thing.
It kind of is. When your body gets too cold, its priority is to protect your vital organs. So it constricts the blood vessels in your arms and legs, vasoconstriction.
Right. Pulls the blood inwards.
Yeah, shuns blood towards your core.
Mm.
Now, your kidneys sense this sudden increase in blood pressure in the central part of your body, and they think,
They basically interpret it as, whoa, there's too much fluid volume overall. So in response, they start filtering out more fluid, trying to lower that central pressure.
it's like the body panics slightly and says, pressure's high, dump fluid. That explains why you sometimes need to pee right after jumping into a cold pool. That's the exact same mechanism. Research confirms this direct physiological link. So the practical advice here is pretty straightforward. Try to set your thermostat in that cool 65, 68 degrees Celsius range.
Okay. And think about breathable fabrics for sleepwear, cotton, bamboo, linen. Use layers of breathable blankets you can remove, rather than one super heavy duvet or thick pajamas that trap heat all night.
Manage the microclimate. Got it. Okay, this brings us to the final one. Mistake number 1, which you flagged as potentially the biggest aha moment. Yes, for many people, this is it. Mistake number 1, the gravity and pressure problem, which connects directly to your sleeping position. And the crazy thing is, the root of this problem starts hours, maybe 10 or 12 hours, before you even climb into bed. Okay, intriguing. How does gravity play into waking up at 2 a.m.? It's all about fluid shifts throughout the day. Think about it. You spend, 16 hours maybe, either standing or sitting upright? Yeah, most days.
During that time, gravity is constantly pulling fluid downwards into the tissues of your lower body, your legs, your ankles. It causes that minor swelling, technically called peripheral edema. It happens to almost everyone to some degree.
Right, like seeing sock marks on your ankles at the end of the day.
Exactly like that. That's the pooled fluid. Then what happens when you finally lie down flat in bed?
Gravity's effect changes. The fluid must go somewhere else.
Precisely. Gravity is removed from that equation. So slowly, over the next few hours while you're starting to sleep, that excess fluid leaves your leg tissues and re-enters your bloodstream. Your body is essentially rehydrating itself internally from that reservoir in your legs.
In the kidneys. Oh. The kidneys sense this big, delayed surge in blood volume from the legs draining back in.
You got it. And they do their job. They filter out that extra volume, producing urine, right when you're hopefully in your deepest sleep cycle.
Wow. So that delayed fluid shift is often the main reason for that 2 a.m. wake-up call, not necessarily the water I drank at 10 p.m.
For many, many people, yes, that is the primary driver. The late drinking contributes, sure, but this gravitational fluid shift is often the bigger underlying mechanism.
Okay, that is an aha moment. So
Mm-hmm.
if gravity during the day causes the problem at night, how do we fix it? We can't avoid gravity.
No, but we can outsmart it. The core idea is to get that fluid out of your legs and processed by your kidneys before you go into deep sleep.
Okay, how?
The most effective strategy is simple leg elevation. For about 1 to 2 hours before you plan to go to sleep, maybe while you're reading, watching TV,
Right.
prop your legs up, use pillows, an ottoman, put your legs up against the wall. The key is to get your ankles noticeably higher than your heart.
Ah, so you're using gravity in reverse, basically, to drain the legs before bed.
Exactly. This encourages that fluid to return to your circulation earlier. Your kidneys can then process it. You'll likely need to use the bathroom one last time right before bed, and then you go to sleep with less fluid waiting to shift later.
Does this work quickly? Like if someone tries this tonight, could they see a difference?
That's the beauty of it. It can work very quickly. That 2015 study, the one in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, showed significant reductions in nightly trips for the participants quite rapidly. It addresses the core mechanical issue.
Okay, that's really compelling. Elevate for an hour or two before bed. What about actual sleeping posture? Does that matter too?
It can help, yes. Sleeping flat on your back is okay, maybe with a pillow under your knees to keep a tiny bit of elevation going.
Okay.
But what might be even better for some is sleeping on your left side.
Left side specifically, why?
Sleeping on the left side seems to take some direct physical pressure off the bladder compared to the right side, just due to anatomy. And putting a pillow between your knees when side sleeping helps align the hips and can also improve circulation generally. Okay, left side with a pillow between the knees. Interesting. So, wow. We've covered 5 big areas: late liquids, late meals and diuretics, incomplete emptying, room temperature, and now this huge one about gravity and fluid shifts. Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
Definitely. And for anyone listening, it might feel overwhelming, like, where do I even start? Which brings us back to what you mentioned earlier, the rule of one.
Yes, absolutely crucial. We covered it briefly, but let's really emphasize it. Trying to implement all 5 changes starting tonight, that's almost certainly going to lead to frustration and probably quitting after a couple of days.
Right. Analysis paralysis or just too much effort. Exactly. So the rule of one is this. Listen back to what we discussed. Yeah. Or just think now, which one factor gave you the biggest aha moment? Which one made you think, oh, I definitely do that, or that really sounds like me? Okay, find the one that resonated most.
Yes. Maybe it was the leg elevation. Maybe it was realizing you have a big salad every night. Maybe it was the 3-hour liquid rule. Pick just one of those things.
And focus only on that.
Focus only on that single change for the next 3 nights. Give it a real try. See if it makes a difference. Don't worry about the other 4 for now.
Okay, so small, consistent wins build momentum. That makes sense. Rather than trying to boil the ocean.
Precisely. Small wins create lasting change. And that really ties into the core message here, doesn't it? The key to getting that uninterrupted sleep back isn't some magic pill or quick fix.
No, it sounds like it's about understanding your body as this really interconnected system.
Exactly. And giving it the stability and predictability it needs to do its job properly overnight, especially letting the kidneys rest when they're supposed to.
So maybe a final thought for people to chew on, connecting this all together.
Well, building on that gravity point, just consider how something as simple as your daytime activity, like how long you sit without getting up and moving, how that directly influences the fluid pooling in your legs.
And therefore directly dictates the quality of your sleep. hours and hours later.
Exactly. Your daytime actions are literally setting the stage for your nighttime rest or lack thereof, thinking about your day through that lens. Well, it can change how you approach everything from hydration to movement breaks to dinner timing.
Wow. Powerful connection. Thanks for breaking all that down.
My pleasure. Hopefully, it helps people reclaim some sleep.